Hello! Right, well, I'm chickening out this week. It's a lovely sunny day, lovely fluffy clouds here and there. So it's a little bit windy, and in actual fact, when you're not in the sun, not very warm. So I've snuck down to the summer house, of course. Wimped out, sorry about that. Right, now, housework. First thing, if you've clicked on this to watch the film, jump forward 20 minutes and it's on the end of the vlog. I thoroughly recommend you stay with us for entertainment and education. Yay! Right, so Parkinson's family news. Ron from Abandoned Railways is back on the scene, back making films in fact. A lovely film, that. Having conquered cancer, this is the second time now. He's in good spirits, up and running. Well done, Ron, it's great to have you back, it really is. Right, so we'll do what we always do, into matters arising, which is on the last two films we set out. One a fortnight ago, which is on the back of the vlog of course, and highlighted the old railway through Cheltenham, the Midland and South Western Junction Railway. I knew it would come to me. We're going through Cheltenham, where you walk through it now or drive through it, you'd never figure there used to be a railway through there. But there is, and of course the builders have jumped in and taken any vacant land, prime building land. Right, okay, let's kick off. See what you've been saying to us all. Lionel and Mary Travels. Lionel, I haven't seen many films from you lately. What's going on? Transportation problems, is it? It could be whatever. We hope you're well anyway, Lionel. We're all a bit creaky, old and creaky on this channel, I'm afraid. Yes, he says, good morning Ron, with all the new buildings in the area of the railway, it would have been difficult to imagine anything being left. True. Old railways never die, he says. Marilyn, I don't want you in here. That's the trouble with this place, it attracts the wasps. Yeah, I think he's gone. Good. Marilyn, from Cheshire, all the way down from Cheshire, up from Cheshire, whichever way that works. Says good evening Ron and the worldwide family. Of course, Marilyn is the elder sister of the virtual Parkinson's Walks family. She plays the part beautifully. Now, nice of you to be able to broadcast from outside again. Don't make me feel guilty, Marilyn. I'm stuck in here. It's been a lovely day here, she says, and the beech hedge behind me has suddenly burst into leaf. Ah, spring, love it. The elder sister is feeling a bit extra old, having tripped over a rug in the hall, hit the wall on the way down, and now we've got two purple eyes. Oh, Marilyn. Marilyn has MS. She's just wonderful with what she does. Oh. As she goes on to say, before Christmas I booked a heritage trip with a breakfast on the Churnet Valley Railway tomorrow, as it's going to the newly opened mile into Leek. So I can't miss it out, but I feel like taking a large sign to sit next to me saying, yes, I did trip over the mat in the hall. The daughter stashed a rug, I bet she has. These daughters take no prisoners. She goes and says, bye now and stay upright. Pot kettle black, I think, Marilyn. Goodness me. Right. Good old Marilyn. Ah, Paul Boyle. This is of special interest to me, he says, as it's the line I used to take to school at Kingham Hill in the 1950s. Wow, I actually travelled on this very line. That's amazing, isn't it? That's amazing. From Kingham there was still a line to Chipping Norton at the time, although the line onwards from Chippy to Banbury had closed in the early 1950s. So it didn't wait for beaching, then they got on and closed it. And then Malcolm Richardson, picking up on Lionel's comment. Perhaps, he says, abandoned railways never die, they gently fade away. Sumac, Sir MacArthur, who is the channel mascot, of course, who looks after James for us over there in Toronto. And Sumac says, because she's a very intelligent dog and can use a computer, of course. James tells me that he lived 1 minute's walk from the Leckhampton Bridge and didn't realise that he could walk a path under it. James, what are you like? Sumac says, I would have known that in a second. Yeah, I bet she would. She'd be down there too, rooting about. Oh well. She says he's gearing up for a weekend in Buffalo with the rowing team, hoping that the US Customs don't give them a hard time crossing the border. Yes, things are a bit tense over that way at the moment, aren't they? And James, you know, and some people have got that kind of guilty look, haven't they? I'm not saying James has, of course. Moving on, Michael from Poland. What was that? Oh, only a bird on the roof. Panic over, I thought the roof was falling down then for a minute. It's a great big plump pigeon. I'll get some pigeon pie, I think. Right, where was I? Michael from Poland. He said it appears I'm first to comment this Friday morning. Don't know what time you get up, Michael, but pretty damned early. Thank you for all the news and comments from our virtual Parkinson's walk family. You're welcome. Local news from Poland. After days of unbroken sunshine, it's pouring down this morning. Oh dear. Oh well. I'm not venturing out with Fafik, the dog. And Michael goes on to explain the poor old thing, 16 years old, nearing the end and the vet's on his way. Ah dear. Yeah. Michael's wife has had Falfic from being a very small puppy. That's going to hit her hard then. Well, and Michael goes on to say the film from Cheltenham was interesting. I can understand why there's so little to see. As you said, old railway line means development, which means that in a place like Cheltenham, prime building land. Yeah. And Michael goes on to tell us, I had my 4 monthly checkup yesterday at Praski Hospital. My remaining kidney is performing well and the results of the test show vast improvement. It's exactly a year ago this week that I had the left kidney removed. It proves you can operate quite happily firing on one cylinder. Well done, Michael, well done. David Bellamy, all the way from Spain. David's actually about these days. I wonder what it says. Looks like you're in the middle of summer there. The bird song was great to hear, even though we had the lesser spotted Trev in his blessed aeroplane swooping down on us. Always enjoy listening to Marilyn's railway adventures. Yeah, Marilyn's getting a bit of a fan club going, I think. Well done, Marilyn. Paul, West Country Wanderings. I'm Cornwall bound this weekend. Paul spends an awful lot of time down in Cornwall. All of us wish we could spend time down there, but I think Paul used to live down there, so he's got the contacts. He said it looks like we have some good weather coming up again. Great to hear all the news from the Parkinson family. Sorry to hear about Marilyn and her railway travel woes. Yeah, poor Marilyn. Good to see part of the Midland and South Western Junction Railway, which I have not explored. It's indeed a fascinating line and was a thorn in the side of the GWR. Great to explore around Cheltenham suburbs. Yeah, you wouldn't expect to find a thing, but if you go digging, you never know. Right, now we're moving on to the film, which was 1 week ago. And it was the Dean Forest Railway from Lydney down to the junction with the main line. Charles Patterson kicks us off all the way from America. Morning, Charles. Or is it afternoon or evening? Whichever way that goes, Charles. He says the modern diesels are slick, quiet and smoothly glide into and leave the station without any fuss, whereas a steam locomotive comes trundling in, hissing, clanking and screeching, so full of life and emanating power. I vastly prefer seeing those steam locomotives. Yeah, I think you'll find most people on this channel agree with you there, Charles. Lovely. Jim Nicholas, all the way from New Zealand, says you can't, or it's hard to beat the sight and sound of a steam engine. Brings back memories of the 5 years in the 1950s when I travelled to school by steam train on a line in Sussex, which sadly was later destroyed and rendered impossible to resurrect as a heritage railway. Vandalism. Vandalism, yeah. So I love it when you get these memories coming back and you can think on times long gone when we were perhaps in the steam age. Ah, lovely. I'm getting all nostalgic now. Keep going. That footbridge, he says, the footbridge gets some column inches this week. That footbridge at a total cost of £267 has certainly proved good value to still be viable after 130 years. True. Michael again there from Poland. He said he liked the Explorer on foot, the Lydney stations, then the journey by train through the same sites. That lattice work footbridge was fantastic. There we go. What a shame it wasn't possible to rescue the overbridge from one station to the other at Lydney Junction, connecting the main line with the Dean Forest Railway. It's a huge structure and spanned across between the two. Yeah, it would have been a wonderful thing to keep, but maintenance would have cost an absolute fortune, I imagine. Yeah, never mind. I'll it again then. Morning Ron and the worldwide family. It's cool today, she says, so I get my brain back in gear. Yeah, we can't be satisfied, can we, if it's too cold or too hot usually, one or the other. Oh well. Another morning of nostalgia, she says. They don't have a lot of money on the Dean Forest, but it's a treasure like no other. Yeah, a few people have mentioned that too. It takes 2 stalwart volunteers to man the Lydney crossing gates all day, and all credit to them. Yeah, I think I get just a little bit of abuse now and again, just a little smidge from our impatient drivers. I did my trip on the Churnet Valley on Saturday, and no one mentioned black eyes. No, I bet they're too frightened too. We had a delightful breakfast, got off at the new Leek station, got back on, went down the line a little bit to Soak on Trent, back around the triangle to Lipstone, which is as far as they go. Then back to Leek again, I think, she says. By that time we'd been round the triangle so many times we weren't sure where we were going. But eventually landed back in the right place 5 hours later. Another rural trip. Right, last page. Lionel and Mary again. Oh, Lionel. That was a splendid train, says Lionel. And what a curve it went round. You could almost get the entire train into one shot. Horseshoe curve, isn't it? Well, they got them in America. We've got them over here as well. Country wanderings, our West Country wanderings, our poor then. With a gripe, and I think a justified one. I always felt that Lydney Town was an underrated gem of a station on the Dean Forest Railway. So handy for the town. And the magnificent parks and lakes that edge the town. There are no fingerposts in the town pointing to where the station is. The town council, he goes on to say, are reluctant to highlight this great resource for unfathomable reasons to me, and I agree 100% with Paul there. They could be doing so much for Lydney and yet they pretend it's not there. Well, they do point everybody up to Norchard, I suppose, but of course if you're just visiting Lydney you don't want to jump in your car and drive up there. So, never mind. They probably know best. Ah, Pete Payne. Evening, Ron. Evening. Where you been then, Pete? Only just got to watch, she said. Spent most of the day sorting out a Norton gearbox that was not selecting properly. Mission accomplished. Yeah, as I said to Pete, I had a Norton without problem. First and second gears were alright. Third gear was a little bit of a hit and miss jobby. And the annoying thing is, you took it to pieces and couldn't see anything wrong with it. I think it was a matter of shimming the outer case or something of that nature. Anyway, we got it sorted in the end. Trev, Ah, Trev, where are you, Trev? He's normally buzzing around making a nuisance of himself. Trev, he said just a short offering today, which means less than 3 pages. As I'm off back on a backpacking trip to Exmoor. Ah, just sleeping under the stars, eh, Trev? As is your wont. Yeah. Well done you. Thank you for today's video on the Dean Forest Railway. Just a couple of points that might be of interest, says Trev. Go and read the comments. It's ginormous and it covers everything. I don't know where his research foundation is, but my gosh, he certainly put some comprehensive details together. Thanks for your trouble, Trev. We all enjoy it. Thank you. Now, Train Fest. Ken. This takes me back to my childhood when I rode the trains at both stations. Wow, the junction and Lydney. Wow. I had to wait ages at the gates in town on many occasions for the trains to pass. Living memory then of the railway in action. Brilliant. Well done, Ken. David from Spain again. You can add steam cranes to the list too, he says, just after dredgers and turntables. David doesn't think about dredgers or turntables, and now it looks like we've got to add steam trains. Oh dear. I don't think, oh, it's an interesting rake of tankers. I don't think I've seen that on a heritage railway before. Interesting to see the platform, interesting to see below platform at the halt. Got there in the end. Yeah, everybody saves the passenger coaches, don't they? But there's not the same enthusiasm for all the goods stuff, and yet they're all part of our heritage just the same. I suppose you can't make much revenue out of them. But they look nice standing there, I guess. Yeah. And to see below the platform of the halt, I wanted to show how it's put together because it struck me it was modular. So it's probably manufactured off-site and then carted down there and erected, I reckon. Yeah, just a matter of interest, I thought. David goes on to say, as I mentioned earlier, we're in Valencia this weekend. A joint birthday celebration for my sister-in-law, Marissa, and me. Happy birthday, David. I would go into song, but I don't want to drive you all the way. Yeah, happy birthday. Thomas. Thomas with some nice information. The mainline Lydney station platforms are wide apart because it was originally broad gauge. There you are. I did hear that the Forest Dean Railway received money every year from Network Rail to allow emergency parking, which is why they keep a long section clear at Lydney Junction. There you are. Thanks for that, Thomas. And then, of course, we close up with Simon, engage on a shelf. As Simon says, good grief, Ron, he said, I thought my track letting was bad. Yeah, so if you get a telephoto of you, of course, the rails look like an awful mess, yet they don't. When you get up close to them, they're not, they're pretty damn straight. Anyway, yes. I see you've been ignoring the don't stick your head out of the window sign again. Simon, I wouldn't dream of doing such a thing as that. How would I? Put the camera out, but doesn't mean to say I put my head out. It's my story and I'm sticking with it. Right, now then, film coming up in just a few minutes, don't know what it is yet, but it'll surprise you, no doubt. And then next week we've got the Dean Forest Railway, the last of the series, looking at Norchard, which is the headquarters, of course. So I was quite pleased with that look around at Norchard. Bit of an exclusive. So I'll see you there next Friday. Don't be late. I've done quite a bit of filming on abandoned railways. Some structures are easy to find. Bridges are generally a good example. Then other features have disappeared. There's a good example. If you look on my previous video on Cheltenham, a lot of them have been built over. Price of land being what it is, I guess that's always going to be the case. There's some structures that you think, well, you can't lose. Like this, for example. But regrettably, it was blown up. And now it's kind of turning hard to find. So let's see what we can see. We're looking for a point of reference then. And there's the reservoir. Now the issue is that the top of the reservoir, or is it the bottom? First point of reference then is the map. There's the reservoir. Now the Gloucester County Council Archaeological Site suggests that the viaduct is there, but it only gives one reference, it doesn't give it end to end. But if you look very, very closely at these marks on the map here, they do suggest there's a viaduct. There you go, look. Viaduct, which is what's on our map. So where is it? Which end of the reservoir is it? Only one way to find out, I fancy. Not overly helpful, this one, apart from one fact. You just about make it out. There's a road goes down there and goes underneath the arch and leads to the A40. So we're led to believe. As you can see, we're now at the reservoir. This is the lower end. And now we're looking for a road which leads off the A40, which is behind us, and went under one of the arches. Here's the candidate then. A40 ahead of us, and the lane stretches up there. Blimey, it's a trek. A clue. Missing clue. Standing off to the side of the parapet now, you can see that the land drops away, but I think there might be a part of a tunnel here or a deep cutting. And although there was a viaduct here, because the map says there was, I don't think this is our Dowdswell viaduct. I think it's a minor partner. That's the other side. Not much to see. Apart from that, looks like a tank, but it's actually a combine harvester. Far too much of this horrible A40 for me on this trip. That's next. If we get across here. Well, this is the next clue. It says up the lane and then on a flat bit. This is looking opposite direction. And where the land is ridden, there's an embankment or a soil removal onto the right. I reckon this is the best chance for the alignment. Well, have a look down here. This is to the left of where we were. I doubt very much we're going to find anything down here, to be honest. That's where we were, up there, and that has all the appearance of an embankment. And then just when you give up hope, look, there you see them. Railway fence posts. So, proves we're in the right place. Unfortunately, hardly the sight of a viaduct. The search continues. We're now opposite the road to Dowdswell. And I have it on good authority that is the actual road that goes underneath the arch of our viaduct. And if you look very carefully at the photograph we saw before, and look at the road sign, I think that probably says Dowdswell. So here we are then, we've actually found the site of our viaduct. Now all we've got to do is see if we can find any traces. What we have either side of the road in this spot, the huge embankment there on the left, and then nothing on the right. Pretty impressive embankment. But as for structures, walls, foundations, not a lot. No doubt the road's been widened, so that might account for some of it. A lump of concrete set into the side of the road, possible. Stuck in the woods at the side of the road into Dowdswell. Are some clues. And just off to the side here, look. I'm going for that. Being a sleeper. Sign the railway was here somewhere, but then we knew that. The bank has been stabilised with bricks or stones, one or t'other. The fence posts continue down there. We've come out to the top of the embankment, slightly legal, and down the other side, and we see again railway fence posts, which means that they're actually protecting the embankment. Through the smoke that just carries on along there, look. Then on the opposite side of the road is a fenced off area with no apparent use. That could be a footprint, or it could be a corral. A few large stones in here. That one might be a dress stone, of course, could be foundation. This is the field that lines up with the embankment, so there will be footprints somewhere, but they're certainly not obvious. And if we look here, there's a patch where the grass doesn't grow. That's going to be something, I reckon. Well, there's a concrete structure, fit enough to be a foundation. Right, there's another one. So, viaduct. Yeah. It's a regular spacing here, look. So the foundation is left in place, as we suspected. Railway posts. And they go marching on up there, which delineates the viaduct. Good. Substantial bridge there. Prevents the brook from undermining the viaduct, I guess. Some of the remaining debris has been used in the making of the track. Engineering blue brick and part of a once proud viaduct, still cemented together. Up there, I don't know if you'll make it out, I would suggest that's probably the embankment on the opposite side of the valley that the viaduct crossed. You can see the rabbits here, look, are undermining the embankment and throwing out the ash, which is typical of a railway embankment. Typical infill. Then this will be the top of the embankment with the railway carrying on up there towards Andoversford, Swindon and the south coast. There you can see what the railway viaduct was built to span, a deep valley. So if you're ever driving the A40 out of Cheltenham, perhaps you should spare a thought for the many men that toiled on the side of the road here producing a railway. Huge great cuttings, embankments, viaducts. It's absolutely amazing feat of engineering that's just disappearing. And talking about amazing feats, perhaps you'd also like to visit my channel. Click on videos and see the wealth of films there for you. And if not, perhaps you'd just like to subscribe, like or share.